Gian Carlo Podcast.
I didn't have sponsors or investors or any of that. I worked my ass off and I borrowed money from a lot of people and I made things happen. So, it was it was a lot, but at the end of the day, if it wasn't like I said for my friends helping me out with money and even just sweat equity, like literally just helping me build stages up and making sure that the grounds are good to go for the event, prior to the event, even weeks coming to it. And even while Bill himself believing in my vision. And, it's funny, he was the grandson of P.T. Barnum from Barnum and Bailey Brothers. So it was really awesome to just know him for the short time I got to know him, the few years. He was an amazing soul. And it was always awesome talking to him about throwing festivals. You could see the twinkle in his eye. It was really dope, super memorable. Definitely one of my favorite humans I ever encountered in my life. Not just because he allowed me to host my vision at his place, but just he was just a dope human. Like he was very eclectic. His entire place behind his nostalgic store, um, it was literally like a carnival graveyard, almost to sort of speak. You should, if you ever get a chance, take a look at Wild Bill Nostalgia in Middletown, Connecticut. It's no longer there anymore. After he passed, things kind of went to the wayside with his property, but nonetheless, while it was up, there was a bookstore and a record store and a nostalgia store with like all kinds of nostalgic things, from like old posters and bobbleheads and you name it. He even had Pee Wee Herman's like bike hanging up on a bike rack in the store. It was really really crazy. He had a fun house in there in the back, and this huge field, and he had like real boats sticking out of the ground. It was just really super cool to look at. It was very aesthetically pleasing to the eye and even weird at the same time. There was even like, balls standing up in the front with little MGs standing on their noses on these cement balls that were in the front of the gate with these super old school hippie vans, like from the fucking 70s. It was super super dope. But nonetheless, um, I had a lot of fun with that place. There was a lot of headaches involved, but getting permits and all of those things were not entirely hard to do. It was just knowing your shit and doing the due diligence of doing your research, and talking to the right people and not being scared to do something. Just know your shit, like before you do anything, just know your shit, and that's the important part. Don't think you can just pick something up and be an expert at it because you're just not going to do that. It's not going to happen. So, think the most the most important lesson I learned, being that I didn't make any money, wasn't really the goal, but it would have been nice to even just break even. Um, Someone told me, if you're not willing to throw 100 grand in a fire and watch it burn and be okay with it, then this venture is not for you. So, I say that to all of you festival organizers out there that are trying to start something or want to take that venture out because you're like passionate about it. Just do your research and know that if you ain't willing to throw 100,000 in a fire and be okay with that, it's probably not for you. Especially if you're trying to do it to a magnitude of, like a camping event or a multi-day festival. There's ways to go about it where you can do nonprofits and or make it profitable, but it's not going to be easy, and don't think you're going to make money right away, because it's not going to happen. You probably won't even break even until the fifth year, so just like with any business that you start, they say that you're not going to even make any money until 5 years in. You just have to stick with it, and that's the key, is just stick with it. When you fall, pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and try again. Obviously you failed certain things, so you got to change those things. So, you just revamp your entire model and try again, and do it again. You got to do it over and over and over again. My last festival definitely took me out. Um, we definitely lost our shirts on the last one, and, weather was a big factor. But, that's the one thing about camping events. You can't ever predict the weather a year in advance. And it takes about 11 months or so for you to be able to plan something like that, to get everything the right way, and done correctly, and having all the right people in place. It's definitely a thing. But at the end of the day, music festivals are about the music and the experience that people have while they're there. It's somewhere where you can, safely enjoy your time and, you know, enjoy the music that's brought to you. And a lot of people go there because of the bands that are on the lineups, because they like a certain band that's a national tier, and then as well as like their local homies that are playing music and playing shows locally are also on the lineup. So they're going to support their homies, and they're going to see some dope ass national acts for, a third of the cost of actually going to a regular show. So it's like, it's very cost effective for the festival goer, or the music junkies, to go spend $150 for the weekend or $250 for the weekend to camp out at a venue and see music for 3 solid days. You're going to see 20, 30 different acts show up on stage throughout the days. It's overwhelming sometimes, but it's also fun. And then you can choose what you want to see and what you don't want to see. And then you might discover a new artist you never heard of that you really enjoy. And that's the beauty of it all. It's about the entire experience in itself. I mean, when I first started going to festivals and experienced that kind of life, it definitely changed my mindset on life itself, and how life should be, and what you should be really understanding what's important. Um, it's not about what you have materialistically. It's not about what you own. It has nothing to do with that. It's more about, your universal wealth. How many people fuck with you? How many people really got your back? You know, how many people's backs do you have? It's very, very 50, got to be 50-50, and in normal everyday life, it's rare to find people in society that are true and genuine to their word, um, just because of the way people's minds have been set to learn. It's like work, 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 pay my bills, take care of my family. That's obvious and should be done no matter which way. But there's creative ways to go about that, so that way you can still live your life and enjoy it. And if you can't, then that's why festivals are there. So you can step away for a weekend, or go enjoy life for a second. There's other things other than festivals to do. You can go travel the world and go hike mountains and go be a tourist and sightsee, and in all different countries of the world. I know so many people that never left their damn state. And, as a human species, we're nomads. We're supposed to travel. Our brains are wired to be curious, to go see what the hell is out there and be like, yo, I've never experienced nothing like that. Let me go check this out, experiencing another culture, something totally opposite of what you knew growing up, and seeing a whole different way of life, like that's very, that's where you gain wealth in my eyes. That's my opinion. That's what makes you wealthy, is when you're well-rounded and diverse, with your thought process and your understanding of people in general, and having a humane look out on life, caring about individuals and people as a whole, because you care about yourself in that fashion. That's where it all should start from anyway. So bringing it all back, music does all of those things, and it brings all of those kinds of people together to be able to experience different cultures and have controversial conversations within a space where it doesn't have to be full of hate. Instead of, it's the opposite. It's full of love and understanding and curiosity, which that's what life is about, is figuring shit out, being curious and going to actually fulfill your curiosity by exploring those realms of your curiosity, whether it's going somewhere new or talking to, a different mindset of people, or excuse me, different people of different mindsets than your own. Um, whether you agree with it or not, it's good to soak that in. It's good to understand where others come from and maybe why their brain is wired that way. Whether they're wrong or right, it really doesn't matter. It's just about you understanding it, and then how you maneuver through life within the realms of that. If you can bob and weave through the things that you like and don't like, and still maintain, regularity and solidarity for yourself, then you're winning, then you're rich, you're wealthy, because money's not stopping you. Um, Counterculture's not stopping you. Society's not stopping you. The media's not stopping you. Um, you're doing you, and you live in your own world, because I totally believe in that saying, you create the life that you live. You create your own world and your own reality. That's so true, because it's about your mindset. It's about how you think about yourself on a day-to-day basis and how you're going to maneuver through what we call life. And it's hard for people to do that because they're so comfortable in following the rules and following what is deemed to be right when it's really not. What you need to have to feel successful, or what you need to show to be successful around the society or around the people that you're encountering every day that are looking in. At the end of the day, none of that shit matters. None of it. You got kids, you raise your kids. You focus on teaching them what you know and teaching them the truth about being happy, and like living a prosperous life that way. Because when you do that, then nothing holds you back. There's no, there's no bounds at all. You're not locked down to a ball and chain or something. To me, wealth is about happiness and how many people actually give a shit about you genuinely. How many, people you call family that actually treat you and look at you back as family. To me, that's what wealth is, and what it should be about as far as meaning to be rich. Um, Making money is, the currency that we live in, the currency we use to survive, but there's many means of that. Sometimes you just have to think outside the box of it. And, we live in a very capitalistic realm of our currency and our system, and everything is about making more money, which, it sucks, but that's reality. And, so Some people are comfortable working a 9 to 5 and getting a steady paycheck because it gives them financial stability because they have things to take care of, like kids and a wife or a husband and, you know, dogs and cats and other animals and property and all of those things, which costs a lot of money. Um, so, in order to get those things, you need to make a lot of money. But some people fall short of that because they get comfortable, and then they get salty because they're working and feeling like they're slaving for someone and not making enough of what they're worth, but then don't have the sense of what's the word I'm looking for? The sense of confidence within themselves to step outside the box and try to think creative to a way where they can make more money, um, to get to the goals of where they want to reach. It's, it's not easy. It doesn't come overnight, but it does take dedication. It does take sacrifice. It takes trusting in yourself. It takes a lot of things, it's not easy. It's definitely ridiculously hard, but you just have to stick with it and have the patience to do that. That's pretty much the hardest part. They say if you want to master anything, you have to have to spend 1,000 hours doing it. That's, was it 1,000 or 10,000? Don't quote me on that. I don't remember, but I know something like that. But regardless, you want to get good at something, you got to spend time. That's the point. And no matter what it is, I got good at organizing festivals because I did multiple. I did 6 of them, and each time they got better and better and better and tighter and tighter and tighter. And I got closer to making, breaking even and even almost making some money. There was a lot of choices I made that stopped me from doing that. And I fault my own self for it, for trusting in certain people, but that was my decision to do that. So I paid the price for it. I can accept those things. My festivals fell hard on the financial part. We lost, a big chunk of money. The last festival that I threw, we took a $500,000 hit, which was crazy. Most people wouldn't know what to do after taking a hit that big, especially when it entails your own money. But at the end of the day, you adapt and overcome. Like that took a toll on my psyche, and it took a toll emotionally on me. It definitely did. Like that was, a really hard reality check. Um, it helped me understand and realize that you can't trust everyone. Um, you have to really vet people out when you go into business with them when you're dealing with that kind of money. So that was one of the first big lessons that I learned, for sure. Um, the other one is, like you can't fret, you know, you can't let what other people say about you dictate or determine how you're going to go about yourself and go about your day and represent yourself. And, you know, or you, I mean, it's hard to say that and not apply it. And, it took a lot for me to realize that I need to not give a shit about what other people think or say about me. And that's really how I've been successful and going about doing what I've been doing. The people that were owed money from my festivals all got paid back. All the workers that were my homies, like I promised them their money, whether it came out of my pocket or not. And I made sure that I stayed true to that. No matter how long it took a while, but that was something that I was able to accomplish. And I did that not because I was legally responsible to pay them back at all. It was a moral thing for me and on my own conscience because, at the end of the day, I still want to throw shows. I still have that inclination inside of me, that itch I need to itch, you know. I need to scratch that itch. I've thrown shows again. I definitely want to do that more. Because the fulfillment of seeing all those smiling faces and people thanking me afterwards for throwing on the show was really fulfilling for me. It was worth all the money I spent. It didn't matter how much money was involved at that point. It was about the smiling faces, the experiences, the memories I created for people to experience, and even the memories that I have from them.